Miami's tight end you. You know, I know if you're looking at raw number, Notre Dame and Iowa have had a higher number of tight ends drafted with way lower impact on the game than Miami.
Iowa?
Yeah.
They've been doing pretty well.
They've been doing really well. But I'm still saying I'm taking Miami
Noah
over them.
Fant, Luke Hawkinson's playing well, TJ Hawkinson, and George Kittle.
Yeah.
They're on a pretty good roll.
They are. I'm still taking Miami. And all that we've done over the course of time, because if you go back a little bit for them, past those guys, you got Dallas Clark, who's kind of a tweener.
Oh, Dallas Clark.
But he was really good. Yes. But that's 4. You know what I mean? Like, even guys who are busting based upon their draft position, i.e. like David Njoku, I'm still taking David Njoku. You know, you just had Brevin Jordan. He's about to go to the league and do numbers. You got Jimmy Graham, who's still doing numbers. You had, Greg Olsen. And, I mean, look, there's more. I'm picking Miami if it's me. And again, even with – and so beyond those 4 for Iowa, the other guys are just like glorified extended offensive tackles who block. You know what I mean? Notre Dame, they got some guys who are decent in the league and everything. But again, they're just – their bodies. They're not game changers. So for me, it's still going to be Miami.
Anytime a discussion like what was brought up just a second ago about tight end U, let's say, is brought up, man, I would love to be able to snap my fingers and have every piece of information I could possibly want at my disposal, meaning, okay, who's got the most first round NFL draft picks? Who has the most NFL draft picks? Who has the most in the first 3 rounds? Who has the most? I want everybody's statistics, both in college and the NFL. I want to be able to measure it up, look at it. But I was not stating that Iowa has taken over as tight end U. I was just making a statement that they're on a good run right now, like after 2010, like in the last 10 years, they're on a nice run. But if we're considering modern football to be, since the 70s, maybe the last 4 decades, Greg Olsen, Jimmy Graham, Jeremy Shockey, Kellen Winslow Jr., oh my goodness, David Njoku, Clive Walford, Chris Herndon, Bubba Franks,
Asante Cleveland,
Jeremy Shockey, if I didn't say,
at
the time of this article, I just looked up, but this is Bleacher Report, and it looks like it's a few years old at least. Jimmy Graham and Greg Olsen were 6th and 8th all time in NFL yardage for tight ends.
Yeah,
so they're probably both in the top 5.
Right. So I'm saying, if you are somebody like the Skinner kid from Greer, South Carolina, come on down to South Beach, be the next one, be a first-round draft pick, and keep it moving. That's all I'm saying. That would be my recruiting pitch, or one of my recruiting pitches to that gentleman, which would not work on everybody, because Caden Helms from Nebraska was talking about last week how he didn't want to go to a school that had a legacy of great tight ends. He wants to be the first and only. Derek Irish, no, there's not as many as Miami. And I'm not saying that there are not good tight ends from Notre Dame. I did not say that.
Zach Ertz. Okay. Was he? Yeah, Zach Ertz is really good.
The Rudolph kid went to the Vikings.
Yeah, the Vikings.
Okay. All right.
Travis Rudolph.
No, not Travis. He went to Florida State.
Travis, he's Florida State, yeah. Jake Rudolph.
Randolph? Is it Randolph?
No, it's Rudolph. You got that right. He's a really good player.
Yeah.
I should know his first name. I thought it was Jake Rudolph. Whoever. Yeah. Good player. Good player in the NFL. I bet he's catching 35, 40 passes a year.
Probably a little bit more.
Player,
but that's a couple. That's what I'm saying. And the rest of those guys from Notre Dame who go to,
what are we missing?
Who've been,
well, if you want to go way back, Dave Kaspers, Kyle Rudolph.
There we go. But
Dave Kasper's an all-time great, and so is Mark Bavaro. But we're going back to the 70s and 80s.
Okay, cool. But again, the other tight ends from Notre Dame, are guys. They're, JAG, just a guy, and that's fine. You can be on the NFL roster for 8 or 10 years, get your pension and everything. But like, if we're talking about game changers, we're talking about all the, like, compare again the list from Notre Dame and the list from Miami. Bro, they're not the same. Y'all are not like us like that. Not at that position. Now, if you want to talk about offensive linemen, you got something. Even though Miami has a lot of offensive linemen, Notre Dame, okay, you can even go and say, okay, more, but like, no, y'all are not like that. And again, I know that on the raw number, yes, you've had lots of guys drafted. What round do they get drafted in, and what do they do in the league? Just some guys, not the same, buddy.
Yeah, Dave Caspers, if he's not in the Hall of Fame, he's like borderline Hall of Famer. Mark Bavaro was a dominant player in the NFL. Kyle Rudolph actually has 47 career touchdowns. And again, I don't know how old this article is, but he was 16th all time in NFL tight end touchdowns at the time. Anthony Fasano, Tyler Eifert's a decent player.
Okay. Both of those
Herb
guys
Smith,
are decent players.
John Carlson. Offensive line, I never hear that one discussed because that's different. It's the most difficult to quantify, for one thing, because there are no statistics. But offensive line, I think that would be the biggest grab bag of programs that could compete for that title. Like, I would say, if we're going to start that conversation, we need to throw in like USC and Ohio State and Michigan and Notre Dame and Miami and Alabama. And like, there's about 8 schools that you could start. Wisconsin.
Well, I was just saying, because he obviously took exception to the fact of me saying that Miami has more and better tight ends in the NFL than does Notre Dame. I was just saying that if you want to talk about offensive linemen, I would give that to Notre Dame as having probably more dynamism at that position than Miami in terms of offensive linemen recently in the NFL. That was just off the top of my head.